Fresh air, longer days, a chance to reset. This season, let therapy be part of your spring cleaning. Clearing mental clutter, shaking off stuckness, and building something better. Grow Therapy helps you get there. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 15th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And welcome to Friday night. It is Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne. And here's the thing. By the time I get to Friday, it doesn't matter what week it is, although this week feels especially so. I'm just beat. I'm done. I'm toast. I don't want anything challenging to come my way, which is why I think Friday night. Here's the thing. By the time I get to Friday, it doesn't matter. My guest is getting a little excited there. We're hearing me on delay. Can you kill the volume on your Facebook for fuck's sake? Thank you.
It's killed.
So what I was saying was, by the time I get to Friday, I just want life to be easy. And so with that, I have a guest tonight who brings me great comfort. And we'll get to him again in a second. But first, I should mention Car Con Carne, sponsored by C&H Financial Services. Business owners are dealing with the new realities brought on by coronavirus, and C&H Financial Services is here to help. They offer a variety of products ranging from traditional merchant accounts to a zero-cost payment processing solution, which eliminates the expense associated with accepting Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express as a form of customer payment. C&H Financial Services eTab solution is easy to set up for your business for online ordering and curbside pickup. They also offer cost-effective commercial lending programs, which can help get your business the money it needs to make it through these unprecedented times. To learn more, contact C&H Financial Services at 855-600-2437 or go to chfs.us. So I was saying, by the time I get to Friday, I'm done. I'm spent. I just need things to, I need one for the win column. This right here, here's one for the win column. It's Denis Buckley from 88 Fingers Louie, an old friend. Happy Friday, Dennis.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Denis Buckley, also a music fan. He's got his Waco Brothers hat, and he's got his Black Sabbath-esque Black Lives Matter shirt. That looks great.
Right. Yeah, I love it.
I love that they did that. So in the Facebook Live text or the post, Dennis, I wrote that music curation is a lost art. It's hard to cut through the crap and find stuff worth listening to. My friend Denis Buckley, that's you, has evolved into a fantastically reliable curator and is rolling through some of his favorite recent music releases. And that's the premise. Yeah, I've talked to you a million times before on this podcast about punk rock, about 88 Fingers Louie, about Chicago, whatever. Following you on social media is a trip because you're always sharing music. And it's not all punk rock. It's not what people would expect from the dude from 88 Fingers Louie. You have a very wide, eclectic, and I think great taste for music. So one of the ongoing issues that I wrestle with and that I've mentioned on the show is that these days, with the internet being what it is, it's hard to know where to find new music.
Yeah.
Where to find the good stuff. We live in a world where everything is available. Any band you want to listen to is out there, but sometimes you don't even know where to start, especially so with newer music. And especially so, I think, as people get up there in age, once they get past like 35 years old, maybe have a family, have kids, it's harder and harder to drill through and find new music, which is why I think music curation is so important. And again, it's hard to come by. And I thought, you're a fine curator. I want to know what you're listening to these days. So you come to this podcast tonight armed with some new releases that you are loving, and you're going to tell us why and what's moving you and what we should be checking out. And that's the whole premise. It's New Music Friday, so to speak.
Perfect. Yeah. What a time to listen to music when there's nothing you can't really do much else, you know?
It's funny. A lot of bands I've talked to during the pandemic will say, yeah, we're sitting on new music. We don't know if we should put it out now or wait until we can start gigging again.
Right.
Fuck it. Put it out now. We're all starved for content. We're ready to consume.
Yeah.
Get it in our ears now.
It's like, and we talked about this probably on another podcast. At the start of the pandemic, you would start hearing about bands that were, they had an album on the release schedule. They're like, oh, we're going to yank it because of COVID. Like, no, why would you yank it? People have like this. I think wasn't the Psychedelic Furs that new record's so great, but they put like a 3-month or 4-month delay on it. And
there's a song on that album. Maybe it was a single. It was the boy or the man who invented rock and roll.
Yes.
Oh my God.
What a great song.
I could just picture that as a show opener. Just sonically, it is a fantastic, timeless Psychedelic Furs song.
That record, which wasn't planned. I didn't plan on that being one of the ones to talk about, but now that we're talking about it, I was the fairest of fair weather Psychedelic Furs fans, I should say, of their music. I was familiar with Pretty in Pink and Love My Way and stuff like that. And they had that lead off single, Don't Believe from this new album.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this actually sounds kind of dark and not John Hughes sounding.
Oh, they were always, that first album is dark as anything. I would say the self-titled album and Talk 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 especially are wonderful. I remember buying those as a kid. Sister Europe is just tremendous, and Mr. Jones and all that early stuff with the saxophone too, and Richard Butler's cool gravelly voice. I digress. So you are a music curator of sorts. I guess the question is, as a dyed-in-the-wool punk rock dude, how do you expose yourself? How do you get exposed to music? As we're asking you to expose others, where do you get? Is it word of mouth? Do you look at different websites? Do you?
I would say in 2020, it's word of mouth. I definitely have a few friends of mine that are a lot more plugged into newer music than I am, and I kind of rely on them for some hints. But then I'll also, a lot of the particularly the UK music magazines that maybe don't have print versions anymore, like Uncut, or I guess Uncut is still in print, but like
I think it's like $15 at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, exactly. And now they don't sell them at Barnes and Noble anymore. So,
well, the British, there are two British magazines I like. They're not the music they cover isn't exactly like cutting edge, cool indie stuff, but I love Classic Rock Magazine.
That's one of them. Yep.
Oh my God, I buy it online every month. It's like $3.99 on my Kindle. I love that magazine, and Metal Hammer, which is a sister publication.
I didn't know that they were related. Oh,
yeah. Okay. I love both those, but those British mags are fantastic.
One of my favorite things to do pre-COVID, and it's probably been a couple of years since I had the chance to do it, but I would take a Sunday, like a half of a day Sunday. When I say half a day, I'm talking, a good 4 or 5 hours where I would go out to local Barnes and Noble. I'd sit down with a mocha, and I'd be in there 2.5 hours just looking at magazines. And then I would, because I'm such a nerd about music, I would literally the note app on my phone, I'd be like, okay, I just read about this band. They've been compared to da-da-da. So, and I feel like, guy in his mid 40s, I felt like I was 20 years younger, like fanboying out to all this crap. And then, in the days where, I only had an iPod Nano that could fit 12 albums if you're lucky. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I got to let go of this, Beach Boys Pet Sounds is going to have to take a break for
it'll always be there for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny you should say that, because when I go through those magazines, I do most of my reading right before I go to bed. I don't watch anything before I go to sleep. I find it just keeps me awake. So I'll read a lot of these music magazines like Classic Rock or whatever right before bedtime.
Yeah. And
I realize as I read them, I'm like, shit, I need to write this stuff down, or I need to tomorrow morning pop this back open and scribble down some of these artists I'm reading about that I don't know. Because you'll see things like recommended if you like. You're like, oh, yes. I like all those bands. I bet I'd like that. I need to stream that tomorrow.
Yeah. Blast from the Past Recommend It If You Like. You know where I got that from?
No.
The R whatever that
RIYL.
Yeah, that was from. Do you remember Tower Records magazine?
I remember the magazine that
The magazine they used to have in Tower Records. What was it called? The free magazine you get as you walk in and around. That was the first time I ever saw that acronym. Recommend It If You Like. And for probably the first couple of months of avidly going in Tower, I'm like, what does that even mean? And then somebody pointed out, like, no, this is them telling you, hey, if you like Matthew Sweet, here's a list of other people that, you know, you should check out. I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
I like when record stores do that too. Reckless does that. And if you like shellac and whatever. I used to get a kick out of with Reckless. I used to get a kick out of looking at the descriptions on, you know, LPs or CDs or whatever. And, you know, I'm narcissistic enough to admit that whenever I look at it, you know, the punk section and somebody like, oh, if you like 88 Fingers Louie, check these guys out. I'm like, all right. I do like 88 Fingers Louie. But
it just so happens I have a vested knowledge in that band. Let me see what else is going on.
It's amazing. So let's start. I know something on your list is a band you and I both talked to on this podcast.
Oh, yes.
Very recently.
The fine gentlemen of Shades Apart of New Jersey.
So Shades Apart, and you can go back and listen to the episode. They're awesome. Just great dudes. And they basically went away for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they came back. And this album's great. What do you like about it?
Well, the name of the album is Eternal Echo, and it's their first album in, I think they said 19 years, which I can appreciate because 88's last record was our first one in 19 years.
Yes.
I loved it. And I was privy to a couple of the demo versions I got to hear in the preceding months. What I loved the most about it is it's the perfect mix of what they were doing before they signed to a major label, leading into what they were working on as a major label band without getting super radio friendly. I mean, there's definitely some super poppy songs on there.
Yeah, they're good with melody.
Yes, they know. They certainly know their way around a hook. But this definitely has the stamp of, and they talked about this in the interview. It's got the stamp of the guys in the blasting room. You know, their relationship with the guys in the Descendants go back a long time, and it was nice to kind of hear the Descendants producers stamp on these new songs. But these new songs are, again, working on your first music in nearly 20 years. Like, there's that fine line between, oh, we can't lose, you know, our signature sound. So do you risk writing just a bunch of stuff like it's 1999 all over again? No, you've got to.
Well, as someone who's been there, wouldn't the attitude be more like, well, what do we have to lose? Who gives a shit? Like, we've gone away for so long. Let's just make this what we want it to be.
Exactly. And that's, yeah. And I think, and you could tell there's definitely some songs on Eternal Echo that are like, okay, this definitely could have been on Seeing Things or Save It. Or, okay, this definitely could have been out on Sonic Boom. But the melodies are there. I didn't get a chance to gush too much about him because Ed, their drummer, wasn't on the part of the interview, but his drumming is just phenomenal. Like he comes from the school, I believe he comes from the school of Stuart Copeland, where like you could tell there's an anchor in this band, and that anchor is that damn drummer is good, and his drumming on Eternal Echo is second to none.
So again, we go deep into the Eternal Echo album by Shades Apart in an earlier episode from like a month or two ago. I lose track of the numbering at this point. If you had told me back in March I'd be doing like 150 of these from home, I wouldn't. I thought by May I'm out.
Yeah, a couple months of doing this from the laptop. That'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm spending like 12 hours a day in front of this computer now. So that's what I'm saying, dude. By the time I get to Friday, I'm like, I need things to be easy. I'm done. I'm toast. I have nothing left to offer the world.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. That Shades Apart record, I have to say, that record, since it's come out, and it's been, I think, 2 months that it's been out, maybe a little bit shorter. I don't go more than 2 days without listening to it. I mean, it's those songs when I heard them the first time all the way through in the album sequence. There were songs that immediately, there were melodies in that immediately entered my head and haven't left. And you can't ask for a better album than that.
So for further reference, we talked to the Shades Apart guys in episode 447.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh, this is episode 466. That right there is Denis Buckley, and we're talking music curation. If you're a fan of Smashing Pumpkins, and so many are, you'll be happy to know that the Pumpkins have new music out right now. You'll be happier to know there's a band that sounds like classic Gish and Siamese Dream era Pumpkins with new music out. Talk to me about Narrowhead.
Narrowhead was a band that my buddy Dave, who's 88's roadie and merch guy. What up, Dave? He loves to send me. We send each other music recommendations back and forth. And
I need a roadie and merch guy to do that with.
He's perfect. Well, he's a guy that's a guy you should probably have on the podcast, actually. But that's a conversation for another time. Him and I quickly bonded over a mutual appreciation of a similar music, and it's funny. Sometimes he'll send me 5 or 6 album recommendations in a day, and I just get overwhelmed. I'm like, all right, dude, thanks for the recommendation. Give the old thumbs up emoji or whatever, and then I forget about it. Yeah. I'm like, I can't keep up with this. But he happened to catch me. I don't know, catch me at when I had some free time, and I'm like, all right, Narrowhead. He's like, oh, dude, this is right up your alley, or right in your wheelhouse. However he said it, and I'm like, all right, Narrowhead. All right, I'll check one song out, and it was I can't think of the song title, but the name of the album is 12th House Rock, and from the first song that he recommended to me, my mouth just fucking dropped. I mean, it was like I'm in my head. I'm like, these guys are so good, and I guarantee they're probably 22 years old. Right. These are not. These guys did not. When they haven't grown up with the Smashing Pumpkins. You know what I mean? Like they haven't. These guys have enough of their own flair that they're not. You could tell they were not born and raised in the 90s. They right. Probably came a little bit later. But yeah, it's if somebody decided if Siamese Dream didn't come out in 1993, and it came out in 2020 instead with maybe the band members with more hair and maybe a little more grounded, for lack of a better word. It's just phenomenal. It's
sludgy. It's heavy in parts. I mean, there are times when I'm listening, I'm like, oh, it sounds like an Alice in Chains riff, or yes. That sounds a lot like the Deftones. There's a song in there called Hard to Swallow, which feels more Deftonesy to me.
Yeah. The guitar sound, the tones they have on their guitars on this record are amazing. And, I go through, I'm lazy enough and I cheat enough that I'll primarily will use Spotify, which I know is the bane of musicians, but I'm.
Well, wait, didn't 88 Fingers Louie get rich from putting their songs on Spotify?
Oh yeah. We our last royalty check just on Spotify alone, I was able to buy some nail clippers.
Fantastic. I tell bands all the time, if you want to make it, make sure your music's on Spotify.
Spotify's otherwise you're doing yourself a disservice. But yeah, so I'll thumb through stuff on Spotify. So, I was so floored by this Narrowhead record that I decided to see what else they had. And they have this other record that had come out, I think, 3 or 4 years prior. And it's a little leaner, but it's just as indebted to the 90s sound. It's it's really it's something else. I can't that's probably going to go down. I mean, what are we in October now? I think I could safely say this is going to probably come down as the surprise album of the year for me. Like I just coming out of nowhere.
It's worth noting, if you're watching or listening to this on Friday, October 2nd, or if you prefer, October 2nd. All the albums we're talking about are on Bandcamp, and today is Bandcamp Day. So if you buy something from an artist today, there's no commission or money taken off the top by Bandcamp. Everything you spend goes directly to the artist. So, for instance, we mentioned Shades Apart. They are on Bandcamp, and that Bandcamp link is shadesapart.bandcamp. Narrowhead, it's Narrowhead TX, because they're from Texas, narrowheadtx.bandcamp.com. So if you're inspired to at least listen to them, maybe buy a single, maybe buy an album, maybe buy a t-shirt, whatever, this is a good way to do it. Bandcamp is a great way to support bands. In fact, my 88 Fingers Louie hoodie comes from Bandcamp.
Well, there you go. That is a fresh piece of wardrobe.
I've never looked better than when I wear the 88 hoodie. It's true.
People say I have a face for radio until they see me in the 88 hoodie, and then they get it.
Oh, right. Exactly. So another band, I didn't know of this band, and you recommended them. Back in the 90s, I remember playing the Superdrag album, Regretfully Yours, to death.
Yes.
Superdrag, to me, was one of those bands from the 90s that just didn't get the shot. They got a shot, but there was something there that everyone missed.
Yes. Yes.
And so fast forward to the present, there's a band called The Lees, Lees of Memory. This is the singer and guitarist from that band, Superdrag. And I wouldn't have known they existed if not for you. Tell me about this band.
So this band has been around, I want to say, since 2012. It's John Davis, the singer and guitar player from Superdrag, and I'm struggling. There's a second gentleman, I believe, that played lead guitar in Superdrag. He's the other member of that band. Been around since 2012. They started out as, Superdrag to me was the perfect combination of power pop and like shoegaze, because they were definitely liberal with their use of the tremolo. And the first Lees of Memory record that came out was leaned a little more on the shoegaze end, which was great. That record's called Unnecessary Evil, I believe. They were just another band that came out at the perfect time for me. After that, they kind of dipped in more of a lo-fi turn. They decided to listen to their Beatles albums in mono as opposed to high def, which is great in the records that did in the preceding years. Sounded good, but it was always like it was missing something. I loved them, but it was still kind of missing something. And honestly, I think what it was missing, it was just I need that hi-fi back. So when I was hearing about the publicity leading up to this record, Moonshot, that came out not long ago, someone said, someone described it as the record Superdrag was supposed to make before they broke up. And then it was like, okay, you've got 100% of my attention.
Yeah, sold.
And it was one of those records, again, with Spotify, if you are a night crawler like I unfortunately am, you could start hearing your new music at 11 o'clock p.m. on Thursday for the records that come out on the Friday. So I remember I'm going to give it a couple of these new Lees of Memory songs a listen before I go to bed at a reasonable hour. And from 11 to probably 1:30 that morning, I just kept listening to that record over and over and over again. And it's the perfect, if you're a fan of Superdrag, you will, I guarantee you will be in love with this record. This is probably going to end up being top 3. I can't make any determinations with number 1 yet, but I'm definitely confident in saying that this is going to be in my top 3 of the year.
And you are such a music nerd for saying something like that. I'm pretty sure this will make my top 3 of 2020. For those of us who are waiting for the Denis Buckley top 10 list for 2020, that's something music nerds talk about. They think about that. Like, let's see, major releases really stop first week of December. So that gives me 3 weeks to really come up with the perfect top 10 list so that it's out before January 1st.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's my high fidelity moment,
Dude, when I started working at Q101 a million years ago, I did top 100 lists, and I would create box sets for my friends. This is super fucking nerdy. I would burn CDs of 100 songs off my 100 favorite albums, And I'd include like 1 to 2 sentence summaries of each album in liner notes that I packed with the CDs.
Oh my
I did
God,
that for, I
that's
think,
amazing.
2 years.
Oh,
And then I realized this is a lot of work. What am I doing here? But it's that music fan slavishness to.
it's OCD. It's OCD.
It totally is.
There's no. I dated girls over the years, and even various family members have said you're kind of OCD when it comes to music. And I hear OCD, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? No, I don't knock on doors 5 times before I walk in. I don't have to wash my hands 17 times. Like, no, don't say that. But I've grown to accept it over the past couple of years. Like, I am who I am.
See, I don't think I'm OCD. Although there are certain things I've done where I'm like, well, that could be OCD. There are times where I'll leave the kitchen after cooking and think, did I turn the burner off?
Yeah.
I've done that a couple times. A couple times I hadn't. So I was glad that I had that inclination to check.
Oh, God. Yeah. Right. Right. Well, I think when I first realized I had again, I'm self-diagnosing myself as OCD. I have probably 5 CDs to my name right now, but several years ago, before I went digital, I had 1,000 CDs,
Sure,
if not more. And as someone that's moved around a lot in a very short amount of time, the bane of my existence was packing up my CDs.
absolutely.
But the first fucking thing I did before I even laid out any furniture, before I plugged in a freaking TV, before I double checked to make sure the refrigerator was running, I set up my stereo and I alphabetized all my freaking.
This is why we're friends. I get you. I understand you.
Yeah. I was talking to my son about this a couple weekends ago, and we were out with his girlfriend, I believe, and he was saying what a nut I am about music. And I said, do you remember when I had moved into the place I talked about earlier at Montrose and Lowell? When I moved in, I had my CDs, how I had them laid out, all my shelving was different. I didn't have like uniform shelving. I had, here's an IKEA stand, here's like a wire stand.
Oh, see, that'd make me nuts.
I should have been more. I should have looked at that as been like, that's not aesthetic at all. But I didn't. So I had various sizes of CD towers. And there was one time, and this is 2006, 2007. So, he's 10, 11, 12 at the time. And he's, sitting down playing Xbox or something like that. And he accidentally threw an elbow and it hit a CD tower and it fell down on him. Again, it was, he's sitting down. It wasn't like he was knocked out cold or anything, and I was, off in the kitchen or something, and I just hear the sound of the CDs crashing on top of him.
And that's when he learned the awesome power of music.
Yes, he did. And it wasn't like a rush to him being like, oh my God, buddy, you're okay. He was so annoyed that these CDs fell on top of him. And I rushed over. I didn't hug him or console him or anything. I'm like, all right, get up. I got to fix these CDs. So I got that.
CDs are basically useless now. They're valueless.
Yeah.
Because like you, I had a lot of CDs, and I still have a wall of the ones that I hold on to either for sentimental or maybe value reasons. But
sure,
I don't even have a way to play them really. I have a disc adapter I could plug into my computer monitor. I don't have a CD player anymore.
Yeah, I have a CD drive on this laptop. That's the only thing I could probably play them on.
They feel like relics.
Yeah, they really do. But where would we go? We're
talking about the lees of memory. The lees of memory, LEES of memory.bandcamp.com. Let's move on to another one of Denis Buckley's picks. I think we can agree that Bob Mould is one of the great songwriters of our generation.
Oh, certainly is, without a doubt. And he put out a week ago today a very angry and beautiful album called Blue Hearts.
A very angry album. Rolling Stone, I love this line. Rolling Stone said, it often feels like Mould is in a losing battle with his guitar for who can sound angrier.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And this is
it's angry, it's ferocious, it's everything you want from a Bob Mould record.
It is. And it's it's to anybody out there that hasn't heard the record yet. The wonderful thing about Bob Mould these past 10 years or so is that he's embraced his past. Whereas I know he was definitely spending some time running away from that for a good chunk of years there. But these past decade, he's embraced his past, but it's been more of a, I felt it was more like, okay, if you're going to get like an aggressive power poppy Bob Mould, it's going to be more on the sugar end of things. You're going to hear some songs that on these past records that sound more like a sugar, long lost sugar songs, which 100% I was on board with. I love that band very much.
Love those sugar albums.
But as I would start to see Bob Mould live more and more, he started introducing more old Husker Du songs into his set, which I thought was cool. But you thought you got to think like he's not going to want to draw back from a sound from 30, 35 years ago. That's just crazy talk. Well, this record sounds like a long lost Husker Du album. And
in many respects, it does. It opens with a very acoustic sounding song called Heart on My Sleeve. Definitely a more quiet song for the album. There's a song on there that to me sounds less like Husker Du and more like his solo stuff, more like something off like early solo stuff. I mean, Workbook or Black Sheets of Rain, a song called Forecast of Rain, which I think is a standout on the album.
I will say that was one of 3 songs that he released prior to the album. And I think that was the second single that he released from it. And I remember hearing it on its own. I'm like, all right, I like this Bob Mould song a lot, but I don't love it. So it was kind of like, okay, all right, maybe Bob Mould isn't perfect,
Did it grow on you more?
Sitting in the context of the album, I love it. It just playing it by itself. It eventually grew on me, but yeah, in the context of the album, I think it's great. But the song that follows, Heart on My Sleeve, that second song, Next Generation, that is probably now it's probably 5 Bob Mould solo songs that I've heard over the past decade were on first, and I am not exaggerating at all when I say this. When that song first kicked in, I listen to everything in earbuds. I don't listen to really anything in out external speakers. So I've got my earbuds in, and Next Generation kicks in, and I audibly said, and this is, like I said, 5 Bob Mould songs now over the decade, where I said, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is so good. And I was, not a drop of alcohol in me. I was sober as a church mouse, but just completely floored by this. And then having that go into a American Crisis, like you're not gonna find two angrier songs on that album, 2 angry and catchy songs on the album.
Well, there are other great songs too. Like there's a song in there called Leather Dreams, which is a very open relationship song. From Bob. And then at the end, I mentioned at the very beginning, it starts with Heart on My Sleeve. The album is bookended with another more down-tempo song called The Ocean. Like it seems like a really thoughtfully arranged or sequenced album.
Yes.
Which to me is still an art form. Sequencing.
Yes, absolutely. And what I love, the sequencing of this album is great. The bit of press I read about the album, the biggest takeaway I got was blue is his favorite color. He's also a Democrat. Sugar's Copper Blue came out the year that Bill Clinton got elected. So he's basically saying, if I name an album Blue Hearts, maybe we have a better chance of getting a Democrat back in the office, which I thought was the coolest fucking thing in the world. Like, all right, we're putting all our money on Bob Mould now. No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So last on your list, I saved this one. Or no, there's one. Hang on. There's one more to get to before that.
Yeah.
Moving Targets. This is a band.
Yes.
I think like they put out an album kind of recently, but before that it had been decades, like since the early 90s since they put anything out. Yeah.
They had another band with a 20-year break. That was a band I got into. I didn't hear them in their heyday. I only got into them maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it was literally, in their heyday, they're a band from Boston. In their heyday, they were on Tang Records, I believe. And some friends of mine out east said, I can't believe, I know what it was. Friends of mine out east would would hear me talk about, you know, the genius of Evan Dando and Lemonheads, and even on Evan's worst day is, you know, in my mind, Evan's worst day is better than a lot of bands.
I've seen you praise. I've seen you praise Dando on multiple occasions online.
Yes, he still hasn't answered my phone call, which is upsetting. I have driven by his house a couple times. He is not. He's not opened up his window when I threw the rock out, but I'll work on that. But yeah, I've been a long time Lemonheads fan, and a friend of mine out east, or some friends of mine out east said, "You're not giving any love to the Moving Targets." I'm like, "Remind me who the Moving Targets are?" And someone's like, "Oh, you poser!" And it was literally like, "Okay, get Burning in Water." It literally, someone said it was like straight out of oh god, that early 2000s movie where the Shins would change your life. What the heck movie is that?
Was that Garden State?
Garden State.
Yeah.
It was a Garden State moment where someone's like, listen to Burning in Water. It'll change your life. I'm like, all right. And I listened to it, and to me, and this could be blasphemous. To me, the Moving Targets sound like a perfect combination of early to mid period Lemonheads and early to mid period Goo Goo Dolls.
I know you're a fan of the early Goo Goo Dolls stuff
Yes.
as well, like Superstar Car Wash era. Goo Goo Dolls.
Hold Me Up, yeah, that era. And so they took the better part of 20 years off. I believe Kenny Chambers is the only. I think he's the sole original guy left. But he reactivated the band a few years ago, and they put out one record, and I'm drawing a blank on the name. And then they very quickly followed it up with this Humbucker album, and
this was crowdfunded too.
Crowdfunded, yeah. They did the GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm. Or Kickstarter, or one of those things.
Yeah, one of those. Crowdfunded, and it's a very, very catchy album. It's a band that sounds like they never broke up. It sounds like, 10 years was 10 months.
Well, I think we're seeing with your band, with Shades Apart, in this band, when you don't have to prove anything, right, the pressure's off, and you can just create for creation's sake. You can do your thing with it. You're not doing it to appease anybody other than your own artistic needs.
Yeah, if you can go back, and I don't know how often the Shades Apart guys or the Moving Target guys do this, but if you can go back and put on one of your records, which I do on occasion, and not cringe. There's 88 songs and 88 products that we put out over the years that I'll be happy to never listen to again, just because of the conditions involved with the recording or whatever. But yeah, I think that's the ultimate test. If you can listen to the record you just put out and with a few minor squibbles, if you can generally say you are 85 to 90% satisfied with the record you put out, then if everybody else likes it, that's even that's icing on the cake.
I think what you're saying and describing resonates with anyone who creates stuff for a living or a hobby. As you were saying that, I'm like, God, I can't listen to anything I did on the radio 15, 20, 25 years ago. Like I cringe listening to myself. And I think whether it's, a writer or a painter or a musician, it's hard sometimes to look back on that stuff and not hear the flaws or hear the compromises that are in that product. Yeah.
It could be a struggle. It can be rough, but it could definitely pay off in dividends too, which these new records by Shades and the Moving Targets have done. I real quick, going back to the Bob Mould record, he actually wrote that saying, I wrote that record for this is the first record he wrote since Sugar's Copper Blue, where he's like, this album is going to kick so much ass live. And of course he puts this record out, and it for a fact it's going to kick ass live, but when the fuck are we going to get to see it live? Right.
So Moving Targets, if you're looking for them on Bandcamp, this is a little trickier. It's Dead Broke Records, but records is REKERDS. They're making this a motherfucker to find on Bandcamp, but it's there. Dead Broke Records.
Deadbrokerecords.com. Dead Broke Records, REKERDS. Denisbuckley.bandcamp.com/album/humbucker. I believe
all musicians who are starting a new band, I think an important thing to consider when naming your band is how Googleable are you going to be?
Yeah.
How easy are you? And this is legit, whether it's being sought for on Facebook or Instagram or on Google. How findable are you based on your name? Because if you have a really common word or two in your name, good luck. You're page 3.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do that Bandcamp and you're like, oh yeah, I want to look for moving targets. You'll get moving sidewalks. You'll get the move. You'll get moving in stereo. You'll get a whole bunch of stuff.
Any more classic rock references you want to throw my way?
Oh wait, I forgot. I'm supposed to talk about punk rock. Never mind. Anarchyintheuk.com.
There it is. Now I know you're punk.
Yeah. I will say this. Dead Broke Records is a label run in New York, I believe Long Island, by my good buddy Mike Bruno from Iron Chic. He is a gentleman and a scholar with immensely awesome taste in music. So he picked up the reins, so to speak. He took the reins and was awesome enough to put out this record and the last Moving Targets record. So kudos to Mr. Bruno.
So if you're just joining us on Facebook, or for some reason you're listening to the podcast and you decided to fast forward 40 minutes, that's Denis Buckley from 88 Fingers Louie. That'd be weird. That's Denis Buckley from 88 Fingers Louie. We're not talking about his band really tonight. We're talking about new music. Denis is a rabid consumer, devourer of new music as it comes out. He also has a vast knowledge of music history. And I thought it'd be great to have him on tonight to talk about what's floating out there, what new releases are there, because it's been my contention, and I strongly believe it, there aren't enough curators to lean on to help us discover new music. So tonight's all about music discovery, which brings me to bestowing upon you the high honor of being my friend of the week. You're a friend of the week for introducing me to a band I wish I'd heard of already, but I'm going to be playing catch up now. Apparently this is a thing. I should have been on board with this band a long time ago. Idols from the UK.
Oh,
the new album is Ultra Mono. I listened to this before we started talking. This scratches every itch I have musically. I'm that guy who, through the 90s especially, was listening to the Jesus Lizard, was listening to The Fall.
yes.
I love that kind of angular post-punk raw sound, and this band hits all those notes.
When I came up with a list of stuff albums I wanted to talk about, and you sent me a side message, and you're like, "Hey, send me the albums that you were talking to talk about. I want to give a couple listens so we could both talk about it." I remember thinking, "Oh, he is going to love this Idols record." I just had a hunch, and I purposely didn't want to like over promote him.
Yeah,
I was just like, you know what? You know how I feel about Bob Mould, and I'll let the rest of the albums speak for itself. But literally, as I added Idols to the list, I'm like, oh, I'll even go so far as to say I expected, and I'm glad I wasn't disappointed, I expected you to reach out to me prior to the podcast and be like, you motherfucker, this album is awesome.
That's pretty much what I texted you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This band is, I don't know much about their backstory. Like I was telling you off air prior to recording.
Dude, this is the new radio. It was off air.
It was off air.
Uh-huh.
I was introduced to them through a single that came out a few years ago, a single called Mother. And the chorus was literally mother, motherfucker. And it was, and I don't even know if somebody explained, I don't even think they gave me a description of the band. They're like, hey, we know what music you're into. This is something this is something you're guaranteed to love, or your money back, basically, is what it was. And I remember, not only was I floored on that song, I think I even texted my kid, who eats the same type of angular music up himself. I sent him the song, and he's like, what did I just listen to? The song is amazing. But it was literally, and they haven't really changed their sound that much. I mean, it's probably gotten bigger and better production as the label got bigger. They really haven't changed their sound, but it's, and I knew I was going to like it. I just didn't know that it was going to be like what the fuck? This is
instant connection with me.
Yeah.
Start to finish on this album. This is an album I would hold up to say, if you want to know what kind of music I really like, it's this.
Yeah. And
because in the 90s, I was listening to Goat and Liar and Down from the Jesus Lizard. I mean, Dwayne Dennison's guitar, David Yao, that ferocious man monster on microphone. I mean, God, I love that shit. And it was funny before we talked about the album, I don't think I knew in my head, I'm like, okay, this is the perfect cross between Jesus Lizard and The Fall. But I wasn't sure if I said, it was one of those like comparisons that I made in my head. But if I said it out loud, I'm like, okay, how pretentious am I going to sound if I say that? And you're spot on, though. That is exactly it.
And how wrong could I possibly be? But I'm glad. I'm glad.
That is 100% my first impression.
Yeah.
And I love both those bands.
Yeah.
So the video for Mr. Motivator is fantastic off this album.
I haven't seen any videos yet by them. I've seen some like live footage, but not actual videos.
Hang on. I'm going to share. I probably can't play the music over the Facebook thing, but I can at least show the video in the background.
Does it have nudity? Because I'm a big fan of
it's I don't know if this, I'm not going to try to talk intelligently about it. Hang on. That's us. I keep talking here. Where the hell? Are you one of those guys like me? I always have like 20 tabs open. So when I need to find something in a hurry, I never can.
I learned with the advent of Zoom, since I've used Zoom for some work stuff occasionally. I've learned to minimize all other windows because I've been busted looking at other stuff when I should be concentrating on work. So
like music sites?
Yes. Yeah, let's say music sites.
All right, hang on. There we go. And someone on the Facebook Live said, throw a shout out to Chicago's very own band Rookie. I think we both love Rookie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've definitely gushed over that band.
And they're another band, victim of timing. I mean, I'm glad they got the album out.
That record came out the week before or the week after?
It was right as everything was going south.
Yeah, that's a great record. That's definitely getting regular plays still.
Yeah, I love that band. And if you want to learn more about Rookie, they were on this show back on April 14th, episode 339. So I had a great interview with those guys. I love them. All right, so I'm going to just share the images from the video. We can talk over that since I can't share the music because it's a copyright thing, and this will be a podcast, which is a mechanical download. And if you share copyrighted content, you can be sued into oblivion. And I don't want to lose my house during a pandemic.
No, bad timing.
Terrible timing to lose a house. But right, there we go. So that's
perfect.
Yeah, lots of just absurd everyday people doing things. You're missing the music, but you get the gist of where this band's coming from.
A band that doesn't take themselves too seriously. Clearly.
No, they don't. And this album again just hit all the right notes. I was playing it all day. I'm in my office working. My son came in, and he's like, "What is this?" And then I started going through this whole thing. Well, it's kind of post-punk, and it reminds me of The Fall and the Jesus Lizard. And he did one of those like Homer Simpson retreats back into the bushes.
In the bushes, yeah.
Trying to show how enthusiastic I was about it. It's like, okay, boomer.
I will say there's a right before the record came out, maybe the week before the record came out, they did a live stream. I didn't catch it live, but I caught it archived from Abbey Road Studios. And they did a couple songs from this new record, like the singles that preceded it. They also did, oh God, I'm drawing a blank now. Helter Skelter by the Beatles. And they just,
see that.
It was as fucked up sounding in the best way as you could possibly get. I want to say they did Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. Speaking of the Ramones per an earlier conversation. And they did maybe a couple other covers. And it was great. There's that you could tell just them in a studio setting going nuts. Like this is, and we both heard from friends that have seen them live before, Idols live before. That's got to be a top tier live band too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, it's funny. Someone let me know that video images are copyrighted too.
Oh.
None of this happened.
No.
Anyway, I posted that video earlier, and a couple of people said, "Oh my God, you missed him at Lollapalooza." I missed everybody at Lollapalooza. I missed everybody at Lollapalooza since like 2005. I feel like Lollapalooza to me is like Logan's Run. Both the book by William Nolan and the movie. Like once you hit a certain age, your life clock in your hand starts to pulse, and you're not allowed in. Like you're just. And I just was under the impression that no one actually played guitars at Lollapalooza. Like you look at the lineups and it's just like single dudes' faces.
A lot of laptops.
Like DJ Underpants and
right.
That's my okay boomer point of the night. But rock is dead at Lollapalooza for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear that they played that. I would have figured they were like a Pitchfork level band at this point. But shows you how much I know. There's been bands that I've gotten into late in the game, and I'll be like, oh well, I hope they get successful. This is an album that could really take off for them. And then I come to find out that they've gone on tour with like Pearl Jam or some shit. I'm like,
good for them. Attaboy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find your record in Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I don't know.
So I can't recommend this one strongly enough. Obviously, everything we've talked about tonight comes with Dennis's stamp of approval, and I like everything we've talked about too. But this one right here, Idols, IDLES, idolsband.bandcamp.com, Ultra Mono. Holy shit! This is one I'm going to be living with for a while. It's just this is it's just awesome, and I owe you a debt of thanks for bringing it to my life.
I'm glad to pass on the love because, as we just talked about, they probably don't need our push because they're big enough. But to anybody out there that's got an inkling to check out new music, like that is definitely. If someone said, "Hey, I'm tired of my record collection. Give me one record right now. I have to listen to," I wouldn't hesitate to say Ultra Mono. That would probably be my pick.
Now I know you're not a fan. I'm assuming you're not a fan, but I swear the new Marilyn Manson album is fucking fantastic.
You're right. I'm not. But I have had enough people, you included, have told me, did Shooter Jennings record this record?
Yeah.
So it's a country record.
No. It has moments that hint of it. It's glam. It's dark. It's all over the place, but it's like a culmination of everything he's done up until now, but done really well this time around.
Okay. Now see, he is somebody that just on just visual appearance alone, I'm like, all right. I'm old enough to remember, the shock schlock, whatever, of like KMFDM and like early 9 Inch Nails and, being goofy for goofy's sake, like, oh, I'm gonna put a leather dress on. I'm gonna really show these people up. Like,
see, I kind of reject that. That sounds very 90s. I'm all for an artist putting on a show.
And what I'm saying is, but when Manson first came out, that was my opinion of him. And I'm like, oh well, he's got, and I'm a huge 9 Inch Nails fan, but I'm like, okay, well, clearly, I just didn't see the appeal in it. And then somebody, a good friend of mine, pointed out several years ago, if you were to hear Marilyn Manson and not being told it was Marilyn Manson, do you think your opinion would change? And I said, I don't know. I think I know. Music snob in me is like, oh, I know enough about the way Marilyn Manson's voice sounds that I could pick any of his shit out in a mixtape or whatever. And there was a song. Not that long. Oh, I can't. I'm terrible with song titles. A song from an album that's maybe been out, that maybe came out 10 or 12 years ago. And it was like, oh, okay, this is some like cool death rock. Like this reminds me of, this reminds me of me in my black turtleneck and patent leather shoes in 1989 or 90. I can get into this.
That was a phase you were in? I can't visualize that.
Oh, I have pictures to prove it.
All right.
For $88, I will send you the picture. No, whatever the song was, I told my friend, I'm like, wow, the song you just the song link you just sent me, this fucking song is great. And he literally pulled a Nelson from The Simpsons. He went, ha, you like this? You like Manson now? I'm like, okay, I guess I like a Manson song. But I'm actually intrigued enough by what you've talked about, how you've described the record and a few other recommendations. That
what you just described is like that urban legend where someone sends you a box of donuts and you think, wow, these donuts are delicious. Then the next day you're sent a picture and all the donuts are wrapped around guys' cocks. You ever hear that urban legend?
No. And now the image is not going to leave my head. I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Enjoy your breakfast. But another thing that happens this time of year, I love re-releases and reissues. And
yes,
they always come out in the fall. That's always been the thing the record industry's done. It's like money in the bank, repurpose or repackage things you know people already like. The demos for PJ Harvey's To Bring You My Love album have been released.
They have. I got to get.
Oh my God, I love PJ Harvey. There she is. That album was just a big part of the 90s for me, and just hearing the demos pretty true to what ended up on the album, but such great songs, and hearing them like that, I love. I had a guest on my show recently, Juanita Stein, who was the front woman for the Howling Bells.
Oh, I remember them.
I think you would dig her because the music's like hazy Americana.
Okay, like
stuff.
Mazzy Starish, maybe
a little grittier.
Okay.
But I think that might be up your alley. You might dig that. And I'm digging the new Thurston Moore album, and I'm not a Sonic Youth fan. Okay.
I'm glad that you brought that album up. I'm a huge Sonic Youth fan, but I've long said, and this is, I'm gonna adjust my music nerd hat here. I have long believed that I'm gonna fuck up this phrasing. The members of Sonic Youth are not. What's the phrase? They're not equal to the sum of their parts.
Basically, some of the parts are not equal to the whole, or something like that.
Yeah. That grand gesture I was going to make clearly backfired. But the point I was trying to make is, for me, with the exception of their other guitar player, Lee Ronaldo, I have not liked any Sonic Youth solo member stuff. So I approached this new Thurston Moore record with caution. I'd heard that song, Hashish, yeah. I heard that a couple of weeks ago. Again, just someone said, "Hey, there's a new Thurston Moore song out. It's got Steve Shelley, their drummer, and it's got the bass player from My Bloody Valentine. They're all in his band now." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's worth enough checking out." And I really like that song, so I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna definitely at least give this Thurston Moore record at least one listen." And I think I popped that on just a couple of days ago, and I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'm on board. This is good."
Yeah, more conventional.
Yes. And that was my problem with a lot of their solo stuff. Was like, okay, well, we're on a major label now. We've got to kind of have to like compartmentalize our sound. Let's just make the most arty, in my opinion, pretentious sounding.
Yes. By the time I got to Washing Machine, I'm like, I'm out. I can't. I'm done trying.
Yeah.
I was good through Goo. I'm out.
Yeah, Dirty is my favorite Sonic Youth record. I have so many awesome memories listening to that record. Literally walking around Lincoln Park. I may have been medicated or on some sort of chemical.
Were you sick?
Yeah, I was on cough syrup. Yeah. I had a really terrible cough. I like that record a lot. I think with you, I think I jumped off at Washing Machine, but then there are like 2 or 3 records leading up to their split were almost like they sound like Sonic Youth if Eric and Kathy played them. Like they had almost like a soft rock sound to them, because it was probably them being like, okay, we don't have to turn up the guitars all the way up. We could.
Sonic Youth, like Eric and Kathy, would be like, have you had the hardest time getting the kids to school and having to do groceries the same morning? Give us a call.
Do you want to hear Seals and Crofts?
They don't play Seals and Crofts.
Down to they should play. You know what? That's why they're not on the air. Are they still on the air?
Eric is still on the air.
Okay, if Eric plays Seals and Crofts, he could probably get Kathy back.
Really, any of the yacht rock classics. If you wanted to do Thunder Island by Jay Ferguson, that'd be fine. Reminiscing by Little River Band, I think always timeless, always appropriate.
If you ever want to have a yacht rock podcast to discuss the power of yacht rock, I can wrangle a few other punk rockers in the mix, and we could talk about the power of yacht rock, because I legitimately.
I don't know if I want this.
I'm just saying, maybe it's time for me to start my own podcast.
It's time. Okay, here's the thing. It's time for everyone to start their own podcast. I don't know why more people aren't. I mean, this is the time.
Yeah. I'm on a work loan computer, and that's my excuse. I could just as easily go out and get another laptop and get the software for it. But
just so you know, you can record your voice on your phone these days.
That's true. I could.
People don't realize the barrier for entry to podcasting is really low. I mean, people view it as this arcane rules and tricks you need to learn and master in order to get your stuff out there. It's not that hard.
But the problem is, and this is where I get to blow a little smoke up your ass, they don't, and I'm a big podcast listener too. There's so much poor quality sounding podcasts that are out now, where literally, sure. And I don't remember or you might have even told me this. I don't know what the approval process is when you get it, want to put it through, Apple Music or whatever it is. I know there's some sort of process involved in that.
The process is basically just a quick scan to make sure that you're not fraudulent or a Klansman. I mean, I think that's all that the companies are looking for. I
kind of wish they would have a rule as far as like quality, because there's just like a lot of records out there too.
It's like saying I wish Bandcamp would approve bands based on quality.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, even from like listening to, bringing it back to music from a mastering standpoint, shout out to Bomb Shelter recording studios, who are also excel in mastering. They when you hear poorly mastered podcasts, the level, you've got to like literally throw the volume up all the way on your damn phone just to hear it, and then that auto plays to your next podcast, and all of a sudden it's like blow your eardrums out. That's been my problem with podcasts, and I figured with my luck I'd end up being one of those poor sons of bitches that puts out something that has the dog whistle that only certain breeds of dogs can hear.
The reality is, a lot of podcasts that start don't make it past 3 or 4 months. People realize, there's some work involved, and the financial reward isn't immediately there. But I will say, if someone is interested in learning or just wants to know how to get going, I said this at the very beginning of the pandemic. I thought that more people might be interested. I'm here to help. Like, if someone has questions about podcasting, message me. If you want to know how to get an RSS feed, what kind of gear you need to start, I'm happy to share that info. It's my belief that the more people who do it, the better it is for all podcasters. It just, the closer the medium becomes to being more widely accepted and legitimized. So I'm happy to help. More the merrier. Jump in my pool.
All right.
So to summarize, we talked about a lot of music tonight, all of which is available on Bandcamp. The Lees of Memory, Lees of Memory. That's the band we talked about with the former members of Super Drag.
Mm-hmm.
Shades Apart, former Carcon Carne guest. Eternal Echo is the new one from them.
Yep.
Narrowhead was the band we talked about that sounded like Siamese Dream era Smashing Pumpkins, cool sludgy stuff. 12th House Rock is that album.
Mm-hmm.
The immortal, the beloved Bob Mould, his new album is Blue Hearts. Fucking love Bob Mould. And the band, we also talked about Moving Targets, Humbucker. Moving Targets, also on Bandcamp. And then we just talked about Idols and the album Ultra Mono, which, oh man. Yeah. I have nothing else to say about that one. Great stuff.
If anybody's listening to this live right now, as soon as this podcast is done, not a minute before, but as soon as this podcast is done or the stream is done, listen to that record if you haven't heard it yet, because it is the best, probably the best thing I've heard in a long time.
And if you're listening live, it is a Friday night at 9:40 at night. Great time to pop that on.
Yeah. What else are you going to do?
Literally nothing.
No.
Literally nothing. My plan for tonight is I'm going to watch The Boys and go to sleep. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and stay home. And then Sunday, I'm going to stay home.
Nice. I watched The Boys shortly before we connected. You are in for a treat, my friend. Are you caught up?
I'm caught up.
Okay. You are in for a treat.
Okay. Every week there's at least one holy shit moment.
There are. I don't want to spoil it. There are definitely some holy shit moments.
Like last week's, the holy shit moment came very early.
This they make you wait. There's almost at the very end, but it's holy shit worthy for sure.
Okay. All right. You are Denis Buckley. You are a wonderful person. You're a friend of the show. Thank you for sharing your music excitement. There aren't enough of us out there.
Thank you for
sharing
and
thank you for being a friend
with me. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for your excitement. Your excitement is catchy. I have now caught your excitement. I don't know what else I've caught tonight, but I've definitely caught some excitement.
Fantastic. And again, if you're watching or listening on Friday night, Bandcamp Day is today. So you have a little time left. Everything you buy in Bandcamp goes directly to the artist, including 88 Fingers Louie, if you want to support them, which I recommend.
I believe that link is 88fingerslouie.bandcamp.com.
There it is. But a great way to support artists. No one's touring, no one's playing. So this is a great way to put some money in their pockets and reward yourself with some music or merch. I love Bandcamp Day. So, all right, Denis, treat yourself. Thank you, Denis Buckley.
Thanks, James.